Good morning, Ovidalcy Middle School students. This is Mr. Woolley. And remember, the information contained in this video is intended to be viewed only by the students in Mr. Woolley's classroom. By watching the video, you agree that you will not record or share the video with anyone who's not a student in Mr. Woolley's classroom. All right, today we're just going to get a little bit of practice in, just some more two-step equations and some of the different kind of looks you get to them sometimes. But we're also going to talk about how to collect like terms and how that even gets used in solving equations as well. Some stuff will get kind of wrap up our second module and get us ready for our third module at Eureka Math. All right, so for example here, negative 2a plus 6 equals 14. And we always try to get rid of any adding or subtracting of regular numbers first in these types of equations. So instead of plus 6, I minus 6 from each side, and then I get negative 2a equals 8. And instead of times by negative 2, I divide by negative 2. I do that on both sides, and I get a equals negative 4. Remember, you can always double check your answers. If you have a negative 2 times a negative 4, it gives you a positive 8, and 8 plus 6 is 14. So you always double check those. Now in these kind of problems, one of the things we've talked about is sometimes it's a good idea to rearrange them. So if the variable's on that right-hand side, you can still solve it that way. A lot of us are used to the variable being on the left-hand side. So if this side equals this side, doesn't matter which side we're on. So the 2g plus 1, I move to the left side, and the 9 move to the right side. Not a huge deal. So same process, get rid of a plus 1 by subtracting 1, do that on both sides. You get 2g equals 8, and then instead of times them by 2, we divide each side by 2, and we get g equals 4. All right, we'll rearrange this one here. And I have 8z plus 8 equaling the 0. So I just flip the sides of them around there. And get rid of my plus 8 by minus 8 from each side. I got 8z equals now a negative 8. And divide by 8 here to clear out the z. And divide by 8 here. Negative 8 by positive 8 is a negative 1. And then here, now this one's a little different kind of scenario. I rearranged it. I put the 2 minus 3x on the left side. And I got the 11 on the right side now. But this minus 3x, you could think of it as a negative 3x. And I'm going to move it out to the front, the negative 3x. Now that 2 was still just a positive 2 that was hanging out there. There's nothing to do with that 2 that would make that negative. So that's just a positive 2, so I put a plus 2 down. So the minus or negative sign stayed with that 3x. So I got negative 3x plus 2 equals 11. Take away 2 from each side, you get negative 3x equals 9. And divide each side by a negative 3. Make sure if that's a negative 3 times x, you divide by a negative 3. And your final answer should be negative 3 here. Now when it says collecting like terms, these are numbers that have the same type of variable with them. So for example, if I had 10y minus 4y, that'll leave me with 6y. If I have 3m plus 2m minus m, well, I can combine these right now. 3 plus 2 gives me 5m. And remember, if there's no number in front, it's technically representing a 1. So 5m minus 1 more m gives me 4m. And then 8r plus 4r gives me 12r. And then 3c minus 8c, you might want to think of that as adding the opposite, like we talked about with subtracting integers earlier this year. 3c plus negative 8c. Either way you want to visualize it, it's a negative 5c. Now how does this apply actually to equations? Well, sometimes you're going to have to collect like terms before you can actually solve an equation. So in this case, I had 4x plus 2 plus 2x equals 26. Well, the x's, I can kind of tidy up and clean this up a little bit. I'm going to collect the like terms. 4 and 2 make 6 of the x's. Now, I can't combine that with just a regular number. The x numbers are their own type of term. Regular numbers are their own types of terms. So in this case, I have 6x plus 2. And then I get rid of the plus 2 by minusing 2 from each side. And divide each side by 6 after that, and I get x equals 4. And then I'll do one more example here for you. I spun it around. I put the 4 plus 80 minus 2e on the left-hand side and put the 22 on the right-hand side. Then I went ahead and noticed that there's a couple different e numbers in here, so those terms can be collected. 8 minus 2 gives me 6 of the e's, plus 4 regular numbers still. I can't combine those together. Equals 22. So I get rid of a plus 4 by minusing 4 on each side, and then there's 6e equals 18, and divide each side by 6, and you get e equals 3. So, all right, thanks for watching, and go ahead and give your practice a try in Schoology.